Welcome to the spookiest channel around. It is 100 days of Halloween, okay? So not really the spookiest channel around, but I do have some smoke going for added effect for the 100 days of Halloween. Obviously, I am late to the show as far as the 100 Halloween days go. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. So basically, guys, if you haven't seen other people's 100 Days of Halloween videos, there is quite a few people doing 100 Days of Halloween, like hashtag 100 Days of Halloween. And it is like a video every day vlog with Halloween related crochet. Some people are doing something specific. Maybe they're crocheting a certain thing for it. A lot of people are just doing something spooky. Maybe they're watching spooky movies, doing spooky themed crochet, whatever. This began during my vacation, so I missed the first week of it. But I am doing like a little bit of catch up. I want to like move this out of my face slightly so that I'm not breathing it in directly. But so I am playing a little bit of catch up, but what I'm doing is I am not doing a daily vlog for the whole 100 days. Every year that I've had my channel, I have done 13 days of Yarnoween, which is 13 because, you know, 13, like unlucky number 13, days leading up to and including Halloween. I do a daily video and I go like all out. I do makeup and costumes and lots of spooky editing. I'll a lot of times decorate in the background like Halloween themed decor, and I have like a project for every day and all this stuff. So I am doing that again this year. In case you were wondering, I am excited to be doing 13 days of Yarnoween. I'm not doing a daily vlog for the 100 days of of Halloween, but what I am doing is I am kind of joining in with some friends. If you guys have not already followed, I will have linked these people that I'm going to talk about here in a minute in the description box, and you should head over and check them out. They are smaller channels and working towards, you know, subscriber goals and things like that. So it would mean a lot to me and to them if you went over and checked them out. So Rainy from the Wooly Llama shop, I can't remember if her channel is called Wooly Llama Shop also, Wooly Llama Crochet, I think it's Wooly Llama Shop. Anyway, about it, I'll have her linked below. She made a video talking, well, actually she talked about, I think in her live stream, actually, she talked about doing a 100 Days of Halloween and doing a tile or a square, granny square type thing for every day. So you'd have 100 at the end. And a couple other people were like, ooh, that sounds like fun. Missy from Missy's Yarniverse is doing it. And she's doing like an everyday video, everyday tile. I'm calling them tiles because they're not like granny squares. They're squares, but they're not, you know, all like a granny square. Actually, none of the ones I've done are like a traditional granny square. And then also Patricia at Yarny Cat. She is joining into a lesser degree of some sort. I don't know if she's made any videos yet. I'm still catching up on videos massively from being gone for like a full 7-day week. I have a lot of channels that I try to keep up with. I'm like getting blasted in the face. This is incense, by the way, if you're wondering. I burn incense at my desk almost constantly. I actually like frequently will start filming a video and be like, oh crap, the incense is like billowing into the screen. I love incense, but I don't normally put it like in front of me and in my face. Let me move this over out of the way a little bit. Maybe it'll billow in, you know, for dramatic effect, but I won't be inhaling it directly. Anyways, so what I'm doing is, or maybe I should start with what Rainy's doing. Okay, so Rainy had this idea to do 100 days of Halloween and to do a square every day. And what she was doing was she scoured the internet, finding all of these squares that would equal like a 6-inch granny square, or it could be modified into a 6-inch granny square. And she put them on little pieces of number. She put on little pieces of paper numbers, and then has a list, I think, in her computer, where when she draws a number, she goes and sees what square goes with that number. So she has that like all organized over on her channel, and that, like I said, is the Wooly Llama Shop. I'll have her linked below if you want to join in with it. She is welcoming you to send in pictures of your squares if you do join in with her. I am doing my own kind of version of joining in with her, which I did say when she brought this up. I was like, well, I'm not going to do a video every day or a square every day, but to a lesser capacity, I will definitely join in, honestly, just because I like to join in on things with my friends, you know, kind of out of solidarity. And also I love Halloween too. So, you know, hey, this sounds like fun. Missy is doing a daily video and a daily square also, but she is picking out different squares. Some of the squares that she's doing are overlapping with the ones Rainy's doing, but she's not doing the same squares that Rainy is doing. Okay, so if you want to get some inspo for Halloween squares, those are two places that are literally going to have 100 squares of Halloween inspo for you guys. I am joining in, but doing it to a lesser extent. I'm not going to do a daily video, and I'm not going to do a daily square. I don't want to commit to that because that is such a huge commitment. I have made commitments like that in the past, and I really struggle with them. It's really hard to keep up with every single day filming a video, every single day making a required crochet to make your video with. Like just scheduling wise and stuff, it gets to be a lot, and 100 days is a lot. I can do that for like a shorter period of time without getting overwhelmed, but 100 days, I don't want to get into that and like overwhelm myself, because I have a lot of plans coming up. So, and I already have obligations coming up. So like crochet channel obligations. So I didn't want to commit to 100 days, but I will be doing my 13 days. And what I'm thinking is maybe 1 or 2 videos a week up until then that are Halloween related. So this is my first 100 days of Halloween video days, like 1 through 8 or something like that, because that's just how I'm going to do mine. Okay. Sorry guys. I got a phone call. Yeah, I don't remember what I was in the middle of saying, but anyway, about it, that's going to be my version. And this is my first Halloween video. So this is my first spooky video of 2025. I am so excited to do my 13 days of Yarnoween. I am like brewing ideas. But anyway, so what I have done is I got a little book. This is just from the Dollar Tree. It is just a little notebook, and I wrote Halloween, and I drew a crochet hook and some yarn on it. I was writing with a really chunky Sharpie, and I almost ran out of room, so it's like, yeah, but hey, I like it. It took up the whole page. Anyway, about it, so what I'm doing is I am kind of following along with Rainy. What I'm doing is I went through and I watched every one of her videos. I also went through and watched every one of Missy's, and I do think I'm going to make some of Missy's squares that she's chosen also. And then now I'm also starting to pick out some of my own squares. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of a hodgepodge as well. But what I'm doing is I'm watching Rainy's daily videos, and most likely going to make the squares that she makes, give or take some squares, you know, from the ones Missy's doing or ones that I find myself. They do need to be 6-inch squares just so that they all match together. So what I'm doing is if the pattern doesn't equal a 6-inch square in the yarn and hook that I'm using, I'm modifying them slightly. I did, like with Rainy's patterns, some of them are done in different weights of yarn or different sized crochet hooks, and I am not doing that. I'm using one type of yarn. I'm okay with modifying what crochet hook I use though. So I did, for these squares I've done, I have played around with crochet hook size, but I'm actually very specifically using 2 skeins of yarn. I am using some Halloween Hirschner's yarn. So I got this gorgeous Celebrate Sparkle yarn. This one is Trick or Treat. You guys, stunning. And then this one that Cynthia sent me last year, I think it was last year, and I have used this for several things. This is like super floppy. I don't know if you guys can see. She sent me several skeins of this. I want to say 3 skeins of this. This is in the colorway of Beautiful. And I have used the other ones for other projects, but I haven't done like a big, large scale project with it. And I really love Hirschner's sparkly, like, I don't know, would you call this variegated or striping, or I don't know. I really love these. These are so stunning. So I knew right away that this was what I wanted to use for my color palette. I never color theme things like this. Normally I am like very scrappy. I will pull out like 700 different yarns that don't actually match. Like, they might be different weights, they might be different brands, whatever, and then I use those. But for one time, I am like really into this, that I am using a color palette. So I'm going to pop up while I'm talking some clips I took, but basically what I'm doing is I'm working from the skeins, but I'm also taking my yarn winder and balling up individual colors from the skeins so that I can color control. So I'm making these squares with whatever designs that they have, but this is my color palette. And I really love it because the one skein has like 2 different shades of gray, white, black, and orange. And then the other one has a lot more like colors in it. It has black, purple, orange, yellow, green, and purple. So it gives me a lot of perfect colors for Halloween. And then obviously I'm working within those color options. So the amounts that you get for each color aren't very big, but that's kind of perfect for squares. And I can always, you know, add on with more of that color if I need to, or switch colors when it runs out, whatever. So that is what I'm doing as far as the yarn selections that I've done. What I'm doing in my little notebook is I have days 1 through 7 listed here. What I did was I wrote down days 1 through 7, what square Rainy did. Because she's showing like the pattern. She'll have it in her description box for each day. She'll have the like name of the square and the designer wherever you can get it at. She's doing all free patterns, and she already has her 100 patterns like picked out and in like her little thing to draw from. Also, just a little side note, I actually have a square that I designed like 2 years ago, and I showed it to you guys. If you've been around a long time, you may have seen it. It was a skull and crossbone square, and I did it with the intention of making a pattern for it. I have like a written pattern for it, but I never like typed it up and took all the pictures I would need to like make a pattern out of it, because I'm very meticulous about my patterns, having a lot of pictures, a lot of descriptions. Like, I want it to be as understandable as humanly possible when I do a pattern. But I might whip together just a quick version of the pattern or a quick tutorial that would be free. So if I do it as a quick pattern, I'll put it on my Ko-fi account, or Coffee, or whatever you want to call it, because I can actually post free patterns, like free PDF downloads on there, without, you know, like, because I can't do that on like my Etsy, or I will do a quick tutorial for it. It's kind of like a tapestry crochet type of thing. I need to make one following my own pattern and see how it was, because like I said, this was 2 years ago. If it's really bad, just forget I ever mentioned it. But if it's, you know, worth sharing, I am gonna share it. That way it can be part of this. It can be a square option. But anyway, about it, I wrote down the squares that she did, and then I started kind of working my way through them, with no intention of making all of them. Like, I don't want to commit to that, but I am going to make a lot of squares. There's a good chance I will end up doing pretty much all of them. But like I said, I don't want to commit to doing all of those squares, especially, you know, on times that are a little bit more busy. I don't want to feel super pressured to make 7 squares a week or whatever, make a square every day. So I wrote down all the squares that she did, and I ended up doing, without changing, I did that one. I did that one with some modifying. I did that one. I did that one. I changed that one. And then I have 2 more from her first 7 days that I haven't gotten to yet. And then I also took some notes on the next couple of pages. This is just like how to make certain things. I worked up a couple of different blocks that will be 6-inch squares for me. So if I want to be able to make blocks to put the appliques on, you know, for future squares, then I could like make the blocks ahead of time if I wanted, or sometimes she may have an applique that's not actually a block that I can have my own block formula for that is a 6-inch block. So I wrote down a couple different options for blocks. And then I started my next set, which is going to be squares 8 through 14. And I actually found my own square online that I want to make. And I'm really liking the designer for it. So I might look and see what other blocks she's done, because it works up to a great 6-inch granny or 6-inch square. And she does a blog post, a free blog post, and a free tutorial. And I'm really enjoying it. So let me show you what I have got so far. I am going to show you these. I don't know if they're in order, but I'm not trying to show you what Rainy's doing on her channel, if that makes sense. So like if you want to join in with her, you'll have to go over to her channel and watch her videos, but I'm going to show you from my list what I've done, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is this Frankenstein square. So this is the Frankenstein Granny by Maria's Blue Crayon. I will have these linked in the description box also. So this is a free blog post. I did modify it a tiny bit, I think. I can't remember. I'm trying to think if I did. But what I did do that is different for sure was I didn't put a mouth on it because she just has like a little smile and I didn't want a little smile on mine. And I used these new safety eyes that I got from Hobby Lobby. They are orange, or they are yellow, and I feel like you can't tell super great, but they have like, they're not just solid yellow. They have like a little bit of shading towards the edges to like get darker. I don't know, they're like kind of a grungy yellow. I got 2 different types of eyes from there. I got like some dragon eyes with like, they're green with like the dragon shaped slit pupils, and then these yellow ones that are round. And I was thinking these are much bigger. She uses like little tiny dot safety eyes. I was thinking these looked so cool for Frankenstein. And then what I did was I melted the back of them by pressing my hot glue gun, the metal part of my hot glue gun, onto the back post after I attached them on to my applique, which is this green part, flattened the backs, and then I sewed it on super well. So it does have, you know, kind of a little bit of an ugly back where I sewed it on, but I don't care. That's the inside. That's the back. Nobody looks at the back, right? And then as far as the block goes, I believe this is the block that was part of the pattern, if I remember right. And I just let it go on its own. I used this skein. So I knew I was going to be using green for the head. So I was like, okay, I can use this skein, whatever colors work up, sort of a scrappy fashion. And then I will sew my green head on and it will look good. And I love it. I really love how that came out. Love. Okay, so that is my first one. My second one is the Halloween Bats Granny by Wiams Crafts. So this one I had to modify a bit because she did hers with like, if I remember right, a 2.75 millimeter or something. I can't remember which ones were done with which, so that might not be right. It might have been a 3. And like some sort of thread or something like that. So my square would have been way too big if I had followed it, because this was just the first 3 rounds of this pattern. I was working it up for the moon. There were 3 more rounds of just the moon before you start making it into a square. So my moon would have been like out to this dark gray, because that's three rounds out. My moon would have been almost the entire size of a 6-inch granny square. So I stopped following the pattern for the square itself after I got to the 3rd round, and I just did my own thing to complete it out to a 6-inch square. I made the bat from the pattern from the YouTube tutorial by Happy Berry Crochet. So she, in the pattern, she has 3 different bats listed. There's a small, a medium, and a large. The large is the Happy Berry Crochet tutorial. I tried to follow her pattern for her small bat before I went and did this one, and I was finding it confusing. I don't know if it's just the way it's written or what, but like I was like, what? So I just frogged out what I had done, went and watched the tutorial and made this one instead, and I really like it. So instead of putting multiple bats on it, I just did one big bat, and I kind of put it like a little side askew. It kind of looks centered, which was not intentional. And then I did make one of the little stars and popped that on there as well. So we've got kind of a moon background, a big sparkly bat, and a little star. And this one I did color control. So I did the white, and then I switched to the gray, the dark gray, and the black. I absolutely love the sparkle in that. Like, you can literally see the sparkle in that from a mile away. So cool. By the way, my squares are probably like slightly varying sizes and shapes. I'm aiming for a 6-inch granny square. Like, I sit here with my measuring tape and measure it. But like if they're off by a little bit on either side, it's going to be fine. The crochet stretches. I could block them if I wanted to and get them all the right size, but I probably won't, let's be honest. But they'll be fine. Anyway, the next one that I did is the spiral granny square from Hooked by Robin. So that is a tutorial. I know everybody knows Hooked by Robin. Obviously, I did color control for this one. I color controlled, I believe, until... Yeah, I color controlled the whole thing. I was trying to remember. So this is a spiral granny square where you have 4 colors in the middle. You could do less colors. You would just have more than one ball of that color. So in the tutorial, she shows you like one with just white and black. But to do that, she had 2 black and 2 white like balls that she was working from. I really love how this looks. You know, looking at it right now, it reminds me of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Kind of reminds me of the like mountain hill thing that they stand on. But I did it in white, yellow, purple, and black. Very much my hubby's color scheme. Those colors, he uses them for so many things when he's making color schemed things. So I was like, hey, look, it's in your color scheme. And then I did orange around the edges. I absolutely love how that came out. And once again, look at that sparkle. Like, oh my God. Okay. The next one I did is the Grim Reaper block by Wooly Llama Crochet. That makes me feel like maybe I got the YouTube channel wrong. I want to make sure I'm right. Yeah, it is Wooly Llama Shop. Okay. I knew, but I was like, oh, did I mess something up? Okay. This is Tapestry Crochet, and this one's not a pattern. It is just a grid. So she made a grid on Stitch Fiddle and then posted it. So you'll have to, you know, like look at the grid. If you know what a grid is, it's just basically like a 20 by 20 pixel, I believe it was 20 by 20 pixel grid, and each box is colored in what color you want that stitch to be. So she did a Grim Reaper one. I modified this slightly. The not crochet hook, could be a crochet hook. The scythe in it is actually part of the Stitch Fiddle thing, but it only had like a few stitches kind of randomly that made up the scythe. And looking at it, I was thinking it would look better if I surface crocheted the scythe on. So I just kind of omitted that. And here and there, I did do a little bit of modifying of where stitches went. And then when I was all done with it, I went back through with my needle and some of the black yarn, and I just kind of tidied up a little bit where you could see colors poking through, because I did carry my colors throughout, you know, working over my colors. And so sometimes they popped through a little bit more than I liked. And so I went back and did that. And then I put a border on it to make it into a 6-inch. This one is a little on the bigger side. This is what the back looks like. And you can see the back of my surface crochet. This one is a tiny bit on the big side compared to some of my other squares. But like I said, they're pretty close. They're definitely able to be connected together. I'm really proud of this. This is only my second time doing tapestry crochet, and I feel like I did way better this time. I didn't overthink it, and like, I was so focused on my tension the first time I did tapestry crochet. I was trying to keep a very tight tension, and I think it really messed with me. So I just went for it this time. I was like, whatever comes out, comes out. And I really, really love how that came out. Okay. Those are all ones that Rainy picked as part of her selections. Then I was going to make the Skeleton Granny, which was also by Maria's Blue Crayon. She's the one who did the Frankenstein Granny. But I started to work up my square, and guys, the colors pooled like this on their own. I was making a Skeleton Granny, which was just going to be a plain granny square with a circle skeleton head on it, and then you just do some embroidery on it. I accidentally color pooled a freaking perfect skull into the center of the square. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, that went out the window, because I'm turning that into my skull. Because what? You can't plan this. You can't plan this. Well, you could, but I didn't, and it happened on its own. So I obviously had to roll with that, and I did a little embroidery for the nose and eyes, and that is my skull granny. I freaking was so geeked that just happened to work up like that. So that is my first 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 squares. Like I said, those are from her first 7. I have 2 more that I haven't gotten to yet. And then I found the Web We Weave by Yarnatopia. It is a free blog and also a free YouTube channel. And she did a bunch of squares. It looks like this is part of like a 365 days of squares. So I'm going to check out more of hers, because working it with a 5mm crochet hook, her square works up perfectly for my 6-inch granny. But I'm currently making it. It's not done yet, but I'll just give you guys a sneak peek. I'm making a spider web on a granny square. So I let this all color pool by itself, other than I basically was just switching scraps when they would run out to use up some of my little scraps that were left over from color controlling. I didn't want white or gray to show up, because what I'm using right now is gray that will turn into white if I get far enough that it needs to. And so I wanted the color contrast. But this is going to lay out over the whole square when it's done. But like I said, with a 5mm hook, that worked up perfectly. For the other squares, I played around with my hook. Sometimes I went down to as small as a 3.5 for parts of squares, a 4, a 4.5. I usually use a 5mm when I'm making squares. So I was really happy that this one worked up so nicely to the size I wanted. She, I believe, uses a 6mm hook, and they come out to a 6.5 for her. So I was like, okay, I'll use my 5 and see what it comes out to for me. If I need to modify the square a little bit, I can, or whatever. But I did not need to. So that is my first submission for the 100 days of Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the squares that I've gotten into so far. I don't know for sure what I'm going to make with them yet. I have a couple of different ideas. It'll just partially depend on how many squares I end up making. Because like I said, I'm not committing to making 100 squares, and I'm definitely not going to do a video every day with my squares, just because that's a lot, and I have other things that I want to do on the channel coming up and stuff. But I do plan on popping in like once or twice a week, or whatever I end up doing. Like, let's be honest, it just changes day to day. But I'll be popping in, showing you guys some cool Halloween stuff. And then the 13 days of Yarnoween, I'm thinking it would be pretty cool if I could put them together during that for some kind of really cool bigger project. Obviously, I still plan on doing like a Halloween themed thing every day and everything. It's not going to only be squares, but I do think using these squares for a large project for that would be so cool to like culminate all of that effort into the 13 days of Yarnoween. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are getting into some spooky crochet, if you're getting into those Halloween vibes or fall vibes, because I'm done with summer now. I had my little summer vacation. That was like my outsideness for the whole entire year. I'm hermiting. I almost said I'm hobbiting. I'm hermiting inside now, and I'm ready for not summer. So I'm embracing the fall. Like, I'm going to shift into fall mode completely. But if you guys are doing that too, let me know what you're working on. What kind of things are you making? What kind of patterns have you found? Are you doing any type of 100 days of Halloween or squares or anything like that? Let me know down below, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.